Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Foxy98 here. Welcome back to a brand new episode of F1 2020 My Team Career Mode for you guys today here on the channel. So we're here for the Russian Grand Prix, and as you can see, we're just skimming through the calendar and just getting ourselves ready to get cracking with today's race. But if you haven't enjoyed today's video, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well, as we are pressing onwards with this series. Now, heading into this Grand Prix weekend, last time around in Season 1, it was a fairly good race for us. We were nice and competitive. We weren't very quick in the corners, but we were very, very fast in a straight line, and that really helped us out. But as you can see, just going through all of the R&D. Now, obviously, we did have a warning email sent out to us. I think it's back at the Belgian Grand Prix now, or maybe the Italian Grand Prix, noted that there was set to be a regulation change coming soon, but we still haven't heard anything yet. So, maybe it was just a fake email. I don't really know. But yeah, just looking through all of the R&D, we do have one upgrade which is currently on the way, which is for the chassis. But as you can see, I'm going ahead and just changing my components to an older power unit spec for practice, as we don't really need to use the gist of it. And as you can see now, practice is already over because we now have 1,000 R&D points in our back pocket. And I really wanted to try and get this one here, a DRS upgrade, to really maximize our DRS speed down the straights. But we just had a bit too much, too little resource points to actually spend on that. So we're going to have to hold back on that front. But as we look at the Sochi Autodrome, you can see that the guys there are getting ready to allow me to get cracking as we go then. Just before we start a qualifying lap, yeah, I may have forgotten to change everything this time. But in the Singapore Grand Prix, last time around, I forgot to change, I believe it was just the ICE. This time around, I forgot everything. And as we go towards the end of our first qualifying lap here, we're kind of a little bit smoky. So as we go in towards the last corner, I even track extended the last corner, but it made no difference. We were still about 6/10 shy of what Sergio Perez just did in his Mercedes there. So as we get towards the end of the session, Lewis Hamilton, unsurprisingly, is fastest in qualifying. We got knocked out of Q1. Yeah, that wasn't very good. Yeah, not great. Oh, it was a good day, was it, Claire? It was a good day for me. Oh, okay, fine. If you class that as a good day, then I want to see what you want me on a bad day, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, that was absolutely terrible. And ever since the summer break now, actually, you literally just said, good day today, and now you're asking me if it was a good day, so I just lied, just to be an idiot. Secret ingredient to my performance was actually my smoke screen. I thought it was absolutely amazing. It really did well and allowed everyone that got knocked out behind me to get knocked out because of my smoke screen effect, which then also impaled their balance and gave them nausea, and they all died. So that was that. Now, with that out of the way, we have a slight issue, which is that we're going to have to start quite far down the order because, well, I got knocked out in Q1. So, despite the fact that I got knocked out in Q1, I still feel like I've got good pace. And with that being said and done, now I took an engine penalty at Belgium and also at Italy. But because I'm starting so far down, I'm just going to change everything, because why not? Just get it all changed. Give myself a 5th power unit. Why the hell not? Gearbox, it's on 72%. Screw having to deal with gearbox problems. Let's just go all out and have some fun, shall we? So we're going to be starting last again. And actually, since, like, the Belgian Grand Prix, we've literally not qualified in the top 10 yet. We're having an absolutely dreadful time in qualifying. We obviously started last because of engine penalties in those two races. We failed to get through into the top 10 in Singapore. And now here today, I made another problem with my engine stuff. Speaking of penalties, Bottas got a 5-place grid penalty, probably for the gearbox. Perez taking a 10-place grid penalty. So both Mercs then taking grid penalties, which is quite significant actually for this Grand Prix. And hello, I also have grid penalty too. So yeah, my bad. It is what it is. But we'll just have to deal with it, and we'll have to do a little bit of fighting then on this race, which is fine. I'm cool with that. So for the strategy then, we're going to start on the mediums and go to the softs at the end of the Grand Prix. And we're just going to go all-out attack. And you know what? I'm cool with starting at the back, because I get to have some fun. So 5 red lights then for the Russian Grand Prix. And it is now lights out. And away we go then. And Hamilton there, not getting to the best of starts, but he was starting on those yellow-marked medium tyres, just as I was then. So as we now make the blast down through turn 1, as it's technically known as, which is just very, very unusual there. Ricciardo then takes the lead of the Russian Grand Prix, but for me, though, there's a nice little gap here down the inside, so I'm going to go and overtake a couple of cars there, make a little bit of contact with the Alfa Romeo of Kimi Räikkönen there, but we do manage to stay in front of him as we now go through the swooping long left-hander of turn 3, getting a little bit of understeer there. That invites Räikkönen to come back at us, but we can just go down the inside here and defend against Kimi nice and easily there, and that is him out of the way. Magnussen up next in P15 on the medium tyres as well, and already a little bit of understeer, lack of front grip in this early stages. Of course, Russia is a track where tyre wear doesn't exist, like literally, so it's going to take a little bit of time for the mediums to really come into their own, and also be more prominent than the soft compound tyres, but I do believe that the softs will help me later on in the race when the others are on the mediums as the track evolves nice and heavily. But as we now press onto the straight here with Magnussen in front of us, we've got that ERS and that rich mixture fueling, fresh power unit in the back of our car, and now as we go through in towards the hairpin, we're going to go down the inside of Magnussen. He holds it in there on the braking, so we'll go very nice and wide just to allow him some space, and we're through. Up into 15th place now in this Grand Prix, and that's still 7 places gained in the span of 1 lap, but Ricciardo is got a very nice lead as we go in towards the last corner out front in the Renault. So it looks like Renault are on a little bit of a mission here in the early stage of this Grand Prix, as we don't take that brilliantly, but we do cross and complete lap 1 of this Grand Prix. Now on to lap 2 of this Grand Prix. A little bit wide there for the middle sector, getting some understeer from the dirty air and the cars behind, but now Giovinazzi here is on the back of Stroll, but we're on the back of Giovinazzi, and let's see what we can do with our fresh power unit on board. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to close right up to the back of this Alfa Romeo and try and get onto the rear of him. And in fact, make a little bit of an overtake. We're going to go down the inside here on Giovinazzi, get nice and early into the apex turn in there, and cover that one off quite nicely there, and that is us up into 14th place now. Lance Stroll is next in P13, lap 3 of this Grand Prix now, and actually, as you can see on the minimap there, Ocon has overtaken Lewis Hamilton, so I wonder if Hamilton has got a problem in this Grand Prix, because Ricciardo out front is flying clear now in that Renault as we open up our DRS now to attack the Racing Point, who doesn't have DRS on the McLaren, so that's already going to compromise his straight line speed, and it's going to allow me to dive down the inside of Mr. Lance Stroll, get past him nice and easily, and we're up into 13th place now. Slowly but surely, we're getting our way through the fields here, but it is taking a little bit of time as those soft compound tyres really, like I said, it takes a lot longer for the mediums to become the better tyre compared to the softs. That's not going to happen until around about lap 10, lap 11, when we really see an actual crossover. Maybe you could say lap 9 at the earliest. So we have to be patient in this race. But crucially, as you can see from the field, Ricciardo and Ocon are blitzing it out front. But apart from that, we now go down the inside audaciously on Lando Norris there. The grid is so tightly compact, they're all in a little DRS train here. So, in terms of fighting my way through the order, the guy at the front of this train is my teammate, and he's in P3, and he's literally just going through the corner there. So clearly Hamilton is seriously struggling in this phase of the Grand Prix, because he's literally being left for dead, and everyone is trying to pass him. So I wonder, I didn't hear Jeff say that he had some sort of mechanical problem. You can see there, literally, that was Hamilton at the start of the replay cams there. But for us, though, Bottas breaks a little bit early, so we can go down the inside of the Mercedes driver and overtake him to go into P12, I believe that is now. In fact, Norris might try and take advantage of that and attack Valtteri Bottas. He's going to try it now as Bottas there defends quite deeply. Norris does do it then, so Norris gets in front of Bottas, so it's a nice little overtake there for him, and he can take that one and move onwards. But for us, though, we're now going to try and chase after Danny Kvyat, and I was actually starting to get worried, mainly because that bollard was there and it was just annoying me, so I just knocked it over. But secondly, those Renaults are really stretching their legs, and I wasn't expecting them to, so I think I've got myself a little bit of a challenge here if I'm going to do a little last first type challenge as we go down the inside of Danny Kvyat. A little bit of contact there made with his tyre. I thought he would break a little bit earlier because they're in a DRS train. The domino effect normally is much, much stronger as we get close to the rear of this car there. I tried to go for it down the inside, and it turned out not to be the case. Luckily, it was only tyre contact, so nothing too crazy there. A bit of an ambitious move, but I've misjudged where the AI would break through there. But now, Kvyat getting a little bit squirmish on the exit with the rear of his tyres. And for us, though, it was a nice, clean exit. Despite the fact he's got DRS, we have got just, well, a better car. So we're going to go down the inside of Danny Kvyat in our favourite overtaking spot. I think he locked up slightly there into the corner, and that just allows me to go on through. A little bit of damage there from the front wing end plate. I believe that was off the McLaren of Norris. I think Norris just took some front wing damage, making contact with Kvyat as he came back on track. Albon and Verstappen are up next as we're now into P10 in this Russian Grand Prix. But again, Ricciardo is absolutely flying, and also Ocon is too. Ocon has not been quick, has been nowhere near as quick as Ricciardo in this career mode so far. So to see him now breezing clear, Ricciardo's into turn 2. We're only going through turn 1, so we've got about, I'd say, 8-9 seconds loss on Ricciardo already. So as Albon now, this is what I was talking about here. So Albon brakes much earlier into that corner, and that's what I thought Kvyat would have done, and he didn't quite. I misjudged it that time around though. It was absolutely spot on there. We got past Albon nice and easily. Verstappen is next on my hit list now, as we're starting to see the guys in front on the soft tyres struggling a little bit now for just grip. You see Verstappen literally a lot of oversteer now as those rear tyres start to go off in this phase of the Grand Prix. Now Verstappen does have DRS over Perez in front, but he is 7/10 back from Perez. As for us though, we're side by side with him, so we're going to go down the inside of Verstappen and go into 8th place now in the Russian Grand Prix, and slowly but surely we are now beginning to really carve our way through this field much quicker than before, as we're now going to see. I was trying to get some updates there from Jeff, and I got another update on the end of this lap. I was constantly trying to get the update on the gap to myself and Ricciardo, because I still think I can win the Grand Prix. I'll always say that I can win it because I got the fastest car on the grid, so there's no reason for me not to. I've just got a lot of traffic to get through now. As you can see, Leclerc is in front of Hamilton, in front of Sainz, in front of Vettel, was in front of Perez, but a lock up there from the Mercedes driver and my former teammate there, and he's been coolly dispatched and out of the way. And we're now pressing onwards in this race up into P7 now. Vettel is next, and as you can see here, lap 9 of the Grand Prix now. We are much quicker now than the drivers behind, and we're still setting very consistent laps. Look at that, only 0.2 per second, or 0.3, should I say, shy of my PB in this race so far. Hamilton there having a little look at Charles Leclerc, as Leclerc also got past Hamilton, but we're going down the inside of Vettel then, and comfortably through into P5 now, I want to say, no, P6 in this race. As Hamilton there getting very close through turn 3 on Carlos Sainz. For us though, we're now, into 6th place. Hamilton on the mediums. I wonder if on the mediums, Lewis was just struggling a lot more to get the tyres into a working range. That's the only thing I can think of that would cost Hamilton so much time versus the rest of the field, because the Renaults absolutely flew through, as we're now trying to chase after Sainz here in the McLaren now, as Sainz there getting very close to Hamilton and also Leclerc in this race. We're trying our hardest to get through on him, as Vettel now, he's still 0.4 back, and this train is just getting, well, it's not really disappearing, is it? It's just a massive slipstream DRS train here. And now, as you can see, we're going to use as much DRS as we possibly can, have that DRS and rich mixture to our advantage, as Hamilton now has a look at Leclerc. Sainz not as quick as Lewis Hamilton, and he actually closes his DRS a little bit earlier, which is a bit strange there, but that just allows me to say thank you very much. And we are through, as that front wing end plate there from Norris's car still showing, which is a bit strange, and I think he hasn't even pitted yet, so that's a little bit confusing. But now we've got an attack on our teammate. Lewis Hamilton now is the next man that we need to fight in this Russian Grand Prix to get past, as we are now up into P5 in this race, as Daniel Ricciardo, I believe that is, in the Renault, does make his one and only stop to go onto the medium tyres and take them to the end of the Grand Prix. So that's him now done and dusted on his soft tyres. For us though, we're now going to try and get the run on Hamilton here. Hamilton though looks like he might have turned his engine up ever so slightly. Leclerc goes defensive towards the inside line. Hamilton holds that, and for some reason we're just going to swoop all the way around the outside of turn 2 on Lewis Hamilton there. He just got into the slipstream of Leclerc, and he didn't pull back onto the inside there, onto the outside, sorry. And that was just a free overtake there as we go into turn 4. Go very deep on the brakes. A little bit wide now on the exit. Hamilton now will take that as an invitation to come back at us now in towards turn 5. But we can cover that one off as we brake a little bit early into 3rd gear. Cover off that inside line. And Lewis is probably the only man so far that's really put up a little bit of a defense there against myself. I just got caught in the slipstream of Leclerc, and that compromised the braking point into turn 4 and just made me go wide there. But crucially, I was trying to find out where Ricciardo rejoined. Did he rejoin in the Lando Norris scrap? Because if he did, well, that's lovely, because I've got free opportunity to just, well, get away in this race, really. But I don't know where he's come out in all of it. I can't see his car on the minimap as we're getting very close now to Leclerc. Have a little look down the inside. Go down the inside, Leclerc. But that was way too deep on the brakes there from ourselves. We're still in it versus Charles Leclerc, but I actually lifted off the throttle because I put all 4 wheels off the circuit. So I decided not to go with that one. It was one of my normal type of overtaking maneuvers, going very late on the brakes. Unfortunately, that time around, I just misjudged it. But speaking of Leclerc, he actually comes into the pits anyway. So, yeah, bit of a waste that one, but it's fine. We're now into the lead of the Russian Grand Prix, and now this is a very critical stage of this Grand Prix. We now need to push very, very hard for the next 3 laps or so and really build an absolute margin over the rest, as myself and Hamilton, Stroll, Magnussen are all not stopped yet in this Grand Prix. Ricciardo is 15.8 back, so that is my delta that I'm working towards. We've got yellow flag actually, and we've just set a new personal best lap, and Hamilton is actually following with me quite nicely. He's only 1.2 off is the Force Korean man, so yeah, not too bad, as Gasly is out of the race in the AlphaTauri, and it's his engine failure. So unfortunately Honda letting down Gasly in this race, and he is not going to score any points. He's going to have to pull over to the left-hand side of the circuit, and that's his race done and dusted. Lap 15 of the Grand Prix, and we're going to come in now for our set of soft compound tyres. And actually, we've also got a DRS failure at the same time. Luckily, our DRS is not stuck open, but crucially, the gap to myself and Ricciardo was around about 15.8 seconds, and we weren't actually losing any time. We were actually pulling away, and when I mean pulling away, I mean by literally a tenth, if that, in the span of like 3 laps. So the gap was stabilised over Ricciardo, which was very promising for me. On his fresh mediums, I had the gap over him. But now, we need to attack Ricciardo. Crucial problem is that while Ricciardo is A, going to be very far in front of us, B, I don't have any DRS to attack with because it's just gone offline. So I now need to try and be a little bit ambitious with my attacks here. First up though, we've got to get the other Renault guy, and that's Ocon, who's 1.4 ahead, but on fresh soft compound tyres. We're going to absolutely cruise up to the back of Ocon. Speaking of that, it took us to the end of the lap to cruise up to Ocon here. So now as we go towards this final sector, just look at the grip that we got versus Ocon. That's a superb exit through there, and around the outside of the second to last corner. I said that my DRS was offline and I had to be a little bit ambitious. Well, that's very ambitious there, to go around the outside of Ocon. We've set a purple middle and final sector, and already 9/10 clear of Ocon. And the gap to myself and Ricciardo then, with 10 laps to go, is 5 seconds. We'll make that 4.3, because I've just done 7/10 out of him in the first sector. Through the middle sector, we actually go now on this lap, and we're going to go through, attacking every single corner. Whoa! That was a little bit... Oh, that curb had some springs on it. I nearly flipped again like I did in Zandvoort. Whoa! That was a little bit mental. Bit terrifying. But at the end of the day, Force Korea takes off on all areas, and we're taking off the new fastest lap from Ricciardo and putting it on ourselves with a 1:31.5. So despite a little bit of a, well, near flip moment, we're still pressing onwards onto the next lap now. Gap down to 2 seconds between myself and Daniel Ricciardo, and we're going to go and set a new fastest lap of 1:31.080 to beat that one quite comfortably. And now we're constantly pressing onwards here. It's another personal best in the middle sector, as Ricciardo is 1.2 seconds now, agonizingly close to that DRS range. A little bit wide there on the exit. We do set a 1:31.078 to go 2 1,000ths of a second faster and set yet another fastest lap. And crucially now onto lap 20, we have finally caught the Aussie man. It's been a while chasing down Daniel Ricciardo, but we have done it. And now we're going to have a nice little breeze. Oh, and look, my DRS is back online. Fantastic. So we're going to open that up, absolutely use everything to my disposal, and go down the inside of Mr. Daniel Ricciardo. Fairness, he's got a lot of engine modes still running in that thing, but we'll brake nice and late down the inside into turn 2, and that's the overtake done. Ricciardo though tries to come back at me there, so I instantly close off turn 3's inside line there, as he was trying to be a little bit cheeky on me. Still coming at me though. He's clearly running some very high engine modes in this stage of the Grand Prix, but we can hold that one off and take the lead comfortably from Daniel. And I will now blast off into the distance, but I need to clear off that DRS range, and that's exactly what we did. Fairness to Ricciardo though, the gap's only 1.9 seconds, but the crucial thing is it's 1.9 seconds in my favour. So as we cross the start-finish line, it is a last to first in the Russian Grand Prix, but it was, you know, it's kind of like half-hearted. We started on the medium tyres. There was a massive DRS train from P3 down to P13. We pitted for soft compound tyres. And the other crucial fact is we had a brand new engine in our car. Absolutely fresh, brand spanking new. Yeah, very, very fun race actually. I had a lot of fun in that Grand Prix. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It was great fighting my way through the field. You know, lap after lap after lap, picking off one driver after another. And despite the fact that we did win the Grand Prix by 2 seconds over Ricciardo in the end, I'll be perfectly honest, whilst I was in the race itself in the moment, I was really worried. I was very concerned about the pace of Daniel Ricciardo, because it was rapid, and both the Renault cars for that matter, because you can see they get a double podium in this race as I take another picture to send back to the Frenchies and tell them that I'm better than you. But I was constantly, when I was making those overtakes every single lap in the opening phases, I was constantly doing a race leader update to try and get the gap and his lap times, because, like I said, he was just romping clear. But eventually then the medium compound tyres came into my phase. I knew the opening phase of the Grand Prix was going to be weak. I was fortunate that there was a massive DRS train. Unfortunately, Hamilton, despite only being 2 seconds behind me before I made my pit stop, he somehow ended up 8 seconds behind after he made his stop. He only stayed out a lap longer, and he had to get past both Ferraris. He did in the end, but yeah, something about Hamilton is a bit puzzling. He's not excelling in race trim. In qualifying, he's got, like I said, he's still managed to get pole position in every single qualifying session we've had since he signed for us back at the British Grand Prix. But he still can't seem to pick up a race victory yet. I thought maybe he could have romped clear, but maybe we need to work on our straight line a little bit. That's something I could think of, because again, in this race, I mean, yeah, he was on the mediums, which really was not a good starting tyre, but I feel like maybe we're just not fast in a straight line. Maybe we need that DRS boost. Maybe we need to get Spec 3 on the engine side and get some ultimate engine power upgrades to really press us forwards. And that's something that we need to work for into Season 3. But as you can see, we're getting all of our money through. But crucially, actually, the gap between myself and Ricciardo now is 115 points in the Drivers' Championship. So put that into perspective. At the Japanese Grand Prix next episode, we can actually win the Drivers' Championship. The way that we need to do that is Ricciardo needs to outscore us by 16 points or more in order for us not to win the championship at Japan. However, if Ricciardo can't outscore me by 16 points, then that does mean that we will win the championship at the Japanese Grand Prix. So, yeah, very, very interesting episode coming up next time around where we could become champions. But for me, though, I need to get some new sponsors. And I was having a little look around. Basically, I didn't want to do the 100 laps during a race weekend. I know it gives me 640 or 622k every single time for completing it. But I'll be perfectly honest with you guys, I just don't really enjoy anymore just doing like 20 odd laps in practice. I'd rather just get through the episodes and, you know, keep it fresh. So I just decided to sign up with Sudo so I get a fast lap in a session, and then I re-signed with Xantra. They give me like 645k, and it's literally just any team, any one of your drivers get a podium. And I'm like, yeah, sweet, I can do that. That's absolutely no problem, because myself, I'm very much easy getting podiums, and Hamilton has got some podiums for us so far. But obviously, joining a team mid-season is also not going to help him out in the slightest. And obviously, I'd like to see next season, when he's in the same car as me for a whole season and when we're really pushing it, what he can really do in that Force career. So with that being said and done, we've got 14 million, so I actually go ahead and improve the racecraft and awareness in the fitness suite, because why the hell not? Just basically building up our simulator to the best of its specs. We do get a brake disc upgrade, and also I believe there's a power unit upgrade that came as well in all of that. But a little bit of a treat. Invitational event. We've got the Brazilian Grand Prix here as we go very wide there, and I didn't actually realise that there was like super strict corner cutting rules for this event. So as I lose the back end ever so slightly, we've got 20 seconds left to get to the start-finish line here. This is what I mean. So I go a little bit wide here, and it's like, yeah, you're near disqualification, bro. You need to calm yourself down and relax. So I was like, okay, sorry. So as we cross the start-finish line, I had 13 seconds remaining. Basically, you had you had to do 3 laps of the Brazilian Grand Prix circuit in the 1992 Williams, and pretty much just get to complete the 3 laps within the time that was given, and we had 13 seconds spare in order to do that. So, like I said, the invitational events are there pretty much for you to win. They're not really that difficult. You pretty much will be a little bit odd if you couldn't complete them. But, you know, it is what it is. I wonder if they do it based on AI level. Because, like, if I had 13 seconds spare, but then if you drop down to a 0% AI type speed, you would still be 13 seconds slow. And yeah, we do get an engine upgrade as well from Mercedes-Benz in there, so appreciate that, Merc, as they look to try and continue to press onwards with ourselves. And we decided to do a little bit of a, cheeky sponsor, and there it is, just confirming that we do get power upgrades in there for us. But guys, that is going to be it for today's episode of the Russian Grand Prix. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And next episode is going to be the Japanese Grand Prix, whereby we have a chance to claim the World Drivers' Championship with Force Korea. So big opportunity in the pipeline as our facility upgrades now all come into play, and this is where we stand. So I will see you guys next time. Take care all. Peace.